there's a tweet that went viral today that is, how did Jesus walk out of the tomb?
Okay.
Like Jesus walking out the tomb and then you quote tweet it with how you feel Jesus has walked out of the tomb
Sure.
in the past. And it's like dominated by professional wrestler entrances and moves. This one's really good. It's a strut. Here's Jesus and his disciples all doing that strut.
I mean, I was assuming Jesus walked out of the tomb like La Parka, so that
doing a little dance
confirms my
Jesus walking out
priors
of the tomb.
that it was a pro wrestling type of a walk anyway.
Jesus walking on the tomb like now Hollywood actor Dave Bautista's entrance, wearing a white turtleneck and firing a machine gun. Jesus walking out the tomb like Eddie Kingston, bloodied and holding a gas can. There's one Jesus walking out of the tomb like the Undertaker exploding out of a casket.
I mean, that's very cool. Yeah.
It's one of the coolest things you can do is explode out of a casket, I think. Happy Easter.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, we had like 30 listeners and now we're down to 10.
I'm eating jelly beans.
I can't believe you're doing it.
I'm going to eat jelly beans the whole time, and you know why?
You can't.
You know why I'm going to do it?
Don't do it.
Because it's how you go viral.
No more.
You forced me during dinner yesterday to watch viral content of a person loudly chewing on mic.
First of all, I'm not sure that I forced you.
Whoa, you were extremely insistent.
And I'm not sure that it was during dinner per se either.
It was on the screen during dinner.
It was on the screen while dinner was being prepared in the background.
Just in time to make it unappetizing.
And then we stopped watching it while we ate dinner.
Well, tell us about this.
All right.
I've leaned off of Mike to eat more jelly beans. Historically on Easter, I've eaten only jelly beans. It's a marvel that I've eaten something else that's not jelly beans today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our nibblings of undisclosed gender, age, and location.
You can say our nieces. I think that's fine.
All right. Well, our nieces told us this weekend about apparently there is such a thing as an ASMR mukbang video. So it is both.
These are like
both ASMR.
These are like kids who are like 10, by the way.
ASMR and mukbang. So if you're unfamiliar with those two video formats, ASMR, there are a variety of different auditory stimuli that people find give them the chills in a nice way. And some of those are tapping or whispering or mouth sounds or whatever.
A lot of whispering. Someone might do, Jesus walked out of the tomb like.
No, that's not the kind of whisper that ASMR people like.
How do they
yeah, it needs to be a breathy whisper like that.
A caress. The thing is you need like, they're all doing it on their 2008 era iPhone headphones, because it's like a condenser mic that creates a lot of hiss and background noise.
Yeah. So that's what ASMR is. And then mukbang is where you have like a whole bunch of food and then you make a video of yourself eating all of the food.
It seems like pornography. It like shares
it's like a
DNA with
vibe.
pornography.
Yeah, it's like a feeder vibe.
Yeah. But anyway, these videos are revolting.
So this particular format, and by the way, this exists for lots of types of food. Like any type of food that mukbang videos exist for, it seems that there's an ASMR mukbang where it really picks up the audio of the person eating. I haven't looked at any of them except the ones, the one YouTuber our nieces told us about who does candy ASMR mukbangs. So she sets out a bunch of like jellies and goops and crunchy, sugary candies and sodas, and then eats them all on Mike.
It's so weird because like clearly this is directed to like my 10-year-old nieces, but also this lady's like 40 and eating more candy than any 40-year-old has any business eating.
So I've developed, here's my conspiracy theory about this.
That she doesn't actually eat it, that there are hard cuts where she spits it out.
Well, that's your theory. And I think probably some of that is true. But it's mostly not commercial candy products.
Yeah.
It is mostly homemade gelatin shapes with glitter in them and, homemade wax molds with a liquid inside where you bite into the wax and then you drink the liquid.
Horrible liquid.
And because these are mostly homemade, lots of gum paste, I suspect she is making them, it's just unflavored gelatin.
Wow.
I think she's just drinking colored water and eating unflavored gelatin because any person who is of the age she obviously is, however many. I mean, I think it's very funny that that 10-year-olds know we're uncool because we're 40. But if a stranger glues a bunch of rhinestones on her face, then the 10-year-olds will think she is cool.
Well, if they eat enough candy.
Right. Anyway, I think she's probably eating just plain gelatin and water.
Wow, you're going to get sued for libel. You've blown up her spot.
I mean, I want to see her eat a bunch of commercial candy that we know what it is, that has like brand names on it, that is not something she made out of a mold she got on Amazon.
You would like want the sponsorship of like Nerds or Starburst or something.
It's true. Well, but it's so gross. It's like somewhere in between. Yeah, it's some kind of porn, I guess.
Do you think our nieces would think we were cooler if we could eat that much candy?
Well, you can eat that much candy.
Well, let's see how I do with these jelly beans.
You've eaten entire bags of jelly beans on prior Easters. I've seen you do it.
I've also gotten sick from it.
Well, yeah, but you've still eaten
That's acceptable, yeah. Jesus walking out the tomb like...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday Night SmackDown. And there's the world champion Batista, who in 30 days will defend the title against The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Look at this machine gun thing he does. Happy Easter.
Well, I'm sure people loved that as audio entertainment. It wasn't painful.
I'll link to
at
it.
all.
I'll link to it. I'll make it quiet. I'll make it sound like this on the microphone. All those machines.
Okay, you can't do that weird little shivering whisper in your voice. It's very creepy, and it sounds like it makes me think of what's his name? Like the shaky voice killer. That horrible murderer who would like call the police and be like, "I did it.
Wow.
Somebody stop me from killing."
Somebody stop
That guy
me
sucked
is
so
what
bad.
the mask says.
Well, maybe he had the mask.
Do you think the shaky voice killer had the mask? And that's how he got so powerful?
I mean, he was caught and didn't use that as his defense. And I think it was probably the best defense
That is
he had
acceptable in
available.
court, is that you accidentally got the mask on you. Somebody stop me. Somebody stop me. Happy Easter.
If you can't do it without laughing, you can't do it.
Well, welcome to our podcast.
Seedy business.
Yeah, it's called CD Business. D as in Dick. This is what the podcast has always been and what the podcast will always be.
Yeah, it's about seeing D's in the form of dick pics. Well, it's not even about that. It's about the now defunct but wonderful Tumblr called Critique My Dick Pic.
It's true. This Tumblr was in the public consciousness. I feel like, so it was founded in 2013, which is when I met you. And I think it was one of the earliest things we talked about, and maybe our shared enjoyment of it, or maybe appreciation for the concept, was a early bonding topic.
Yeah. So this person was, I assume, still is doing, well, who knows what they're doing now. But
She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer.
She's like writing now, I think, because of her fame from this website, whatever minor fame that is. She like is a freelance writer now, but by trade and occupation, she's a lawyer.
All right. Well, she was doing, genuine artistic critiques of dick pics.
Yeah.
So it's not a critique of the dick. Importantly, it is a critique of the choices made in photographing.
Yeah. Her name is Madeline Holden. It ran from 2013 until Tumblr banned adult content harming sex workers everywhere in December of 2018. I believe she's left open the possibility of reviving it, as a concept at some other place, some other space. I think she was ultimately charging like some amount of money for like a guaranteed review on her website. So there's like some lost profit there. That's probably incentivizing it. But I think ultimately she was doing it for the good of our world. Is there an argument to be made that her critiques have maybe changed the way that people photograph their own nudity?
I think that's maybe true. Yeah.
Yeah. At the very least, like the mocking of like bad archetypes, bad dick pic archetypes has probably driven people away from photographing their own penises like that.
I mean, people have also, I think, gotten much more savvy as photographers over the last 10 years.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Cameras have gotten better on your phone. First of all, people buy special lighting if they do
They've
things
got
on
ring lights
Instagram
and
or
selfie
TikTok.
sticks
Yeah.
and filters and all kinds of things.
Yeah. So it's a good head start, but really composition of the photo itself is the main work that she did. I thought I'd pull up, and you can no longer find this on Tumblr, of course, because of its adult content ban. But you can go to the Wayback Machine and find posts. Can I link to the Wayback Machine?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I can link to the Wayback Machine, but can I link to this website via the Wayback Machine?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Probably. All right, I'll do that. I thought I'd bring up a post from.
I mean, I want to say one thing about this.
Yeah.
This is classic deterioration of the internet, right? There was a time when maybe you had 5 or 10 sites bookmarked where someone was doing something that was kind of cool and creative and fun, and they just had their blog and it was about whatever, and you would go to it and see what their post was that week or that day.
I would check sites in the morning. I would check Achewood Comics and critique my dick pic, probably.
But the
Cake Disasters or whatever that site was.
Yeah, Cake Rex.
Cake Rex.
Yep. Cake Rex, You Suck at Craigslist. These were, fun little parts of the internet during a specific era of the 2000s.
Yeah. Now
everything.
There are 4 websites.
Yes. Everything is on one of 4 websites. And if they decide you're not allowed to show dick pics anymore, that's it. Your dick pic.
No one will ever see a dick again.
Yeah, exactly. Your dick pic critiquing site is going to need to move to Patreon or something. I don't
Guess
know.
OnlyFans probably, right?
Yeah. Does OnlyFans let you show other people's dicks? I mean, I guess.
I think with their consent.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'll link to all this stuff. I'll link, by the way, to that mukbang candy lady and the Undertaker bursting out of the tomb, if anybody's interested in that. But this first post I wanted to bring up is maybe the classic critique my dick pic post from September 27th, 2013. describe, without using her term, maybe for what this penis looks like, which is a term she coined that became iconic. How would you describe this dick pic?
Well, it's the photograph you get when you're holding your phone in the vertical orientation and you're holding it in your non-dominant hand, sort of at mid-chest to belly button height.
Yeah.
Right above your penis, which you're cupping in your other hand.
Gently cupping.
And you're trying to fill the entire frame of the picture with your penis, and you don't really care very much about anything else that's happening in the picture, but you've got an owner's POV if you could only squinch your head way down below your rib cage.
Yeah, that's a good description. This penis, I would say, is, I mean, it's impossible. The thing is, this is during an era where, like, I guess you're trying to make your penis look big by making it fill the whole frame. Like anything could, a microscopic thing can fill the whole frame if you zoom in on it.
Well, they hadn't yet really perfected the art of forced perspective that people now use to make their bodies look weird.
So this dick is like mostly hard, I guess. My belief is that,
oh yeah, when you have kind of like a mid boner, that's a classic part of this type of.
So it's just sort of like
shot.
hanging out there. My belief, and I don't know if she goes into this at any point, is that it should either be very hard, or not erect at all, but composed in an attractive way. Like those are both acceptable outcomes.
I think the mid range is also acceptable, actually.
Maybe, but it should look like it's on its way up instead of on its way down. And I think from this angle, a lot of them look like they're like drooping in a way that seems like, well, this boner is on its way out.
Well, I think what's often happening in these pictures is the person is pushing it down. They're using their thumb to push it down. So
why?
Because I think they think that makes it look longer.
Makes it look like it's falling down. I don't think that's good.
I'm just telling you what I believe the person taking the picture is trying to achieve, and it is making the penis look
failure.
Big. Why don't you just put in an object for scale if that's
Banana
your
for
whole
scale,
point? Yeah.
$1 for scale. So she, in this post, in her review, says, "This is what I like to call the log. The log is when you take a bird's eye view close-up shot of your enormous dick, with your dick taking up most of the frame and with very little surrounding detail. Dudes, they're boring. They're so boring. They say, 'Look at my fat cock,' and little else. They say, 'I'm hung, but I'm remarkably dull.' I have a backlog," and remember, she invites people to send her their dick pics for her to critique. She says, "I have a backlog of approximately 7,800 logs in my inbox, and I never want to see another log in my life. No more logs." But at the end of every post, she says, "Thank you for submitting to critiquemydickpic.tumblr.com. Your dick pic gets a," then she gives a letter grade. I believe she does not give out Fs because she feels that, you know, the sort of courage it takes to subject yourself to critique means that you shouldn't get an F. Although probably some people love to have someone tell them that their dick pic is bad. So I'm not sure how much courage it takes for those people. But this dick pic got a D, which I think is the lowest grade you can get.
Well, after the No Child Left Behind.
Yeah, that's great inflation. Yeah, all the dicks at Ivy League schools only get A's and B's. Yeah, I guess my feeling, I don't know if you've gotten a lot of dick pics in your life.
I've gotten remarkably few dick pics for my age, and
I think we're sort of on the older end of that. Like,
I mean, we met through online dating.
Yeah.
And I mostly didn't get unsolicited dick pics.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're interacting with mostly decent human beings, I think.
I think, though, a lot of people would complain that they would get just barraged with random spam dick pics.
Yeah.
That rarely
You didn't
happens
find that to be
me.
borne out, no. I guess, like, I don't know. I've like, people have sent me naked pictures in life, certainly, and even like maybe a dick pic or two. But the thing is that I feel my main thing is, like, when you look at this, you don't like know whose it is, right? Like, this could be just any penis. There should be, and I'm not saying someone has to like show their face and like a dated newspaper in the same picture as the dick, but if there's not any character to it that allows you to associate it with that person, then what's the point?
I mean, I think in general, sending nude pictures to people you don't know very well has a great potential to
for
them
course,
to go
but
into the wrong hands.
I'm not talking about unsolicited dick pics. I'm talking about people that, so if people are sexting with each other, or if it's a partner who you're someone you're in a casual sex relationship with, then I think this of course happens all the time. But I think that a successful picture is one where you get like the vibe of that person.
I'm sure that's true. I don't believe I've ever sent a sexed image. Seems too risky.
I mean, I've definitely sent a sext image.
Yeah, I know you have.
But I've not sent like a picture of just my penis. That much I know. I know that's true. I've not sent a log. Anyway, let's look at some other ones. I'll link to, we went to the Wayback Machine. I picked a random date in 2017. I guess I'll link to the specific page this is adult content, by the way. So I guess don't listen to this if you're not interested in that. As it's always been on CD business. So let's see. I'm pulling up a post here for March 29th, 2017. Wow. That was a bad time. March 29th, 2017 was a bad time. Probably was good to have the escapism of Critique My Dick Pic at that point in time, which was now 7 years ago, almost to the day.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. So this person wrote in as a black and white image. Do you want to describe, I guess your role in the form iteration of CD Business is often to describe sort of the visuals of a catalog. Maybe you're the describer of these visuals today. How do you describe this dick pic?
This is a black and white profile shot. It is still an extreme close-up on the penis.
It's an extreme close-up, I would say, yeah.
The penis is still being held with one hand, like thumb on top, fingers curled underneath. It is erect, but instead of kind of zooming in until the penis fills up the entire frame, the penis fills up about like half to 3/4 of the length of the frame. There's a kind of pleasing,
it's a portrait.
Yes, and there's a pleasing negative space, an unusual amount of negative space beyond the head of the penis on a black background.
Yeah. I would say that's like that's the main defining feature of this to me, is the use of negative space. Maybe besides that, the incredible detail in the vein running along the side of this penis.
Yeah, they've done some very intentional lighting of the scene. You can see there's a strong light coming from a single source. There's a very dark background. You can see the details of individual hairs. You can see individual veins.
That vein is something. I guess we all got veins in our penises when they're erect, but that's...
Well, we've all got veins basically everywhere, basically all the time.
It's hard to think about. It's unnerving to think about. This penis is uncircumcised.
You have a skeleton inside you right now?
No, not me.
Isn't that wild?
Not me.
There's a spooky skeleton inside you just waiting to get out.
I don't have one in me. I have an exoskeleton. That's what you're seeing right now. Yeah, so I should say that this Madeline Holden encourages, maybe I should go to the top and read her main heading here on her Tumblr. Before we go on, it says, critiquing your dick pics with love. Welcome to the website where you can receive objective, honest feedback on the quality of your dick pics. As I am inundated with submissions, unfortunately, I cannot review every dick pic I receive. Please submit only your best work to critiquemydickpic@gmail.com. Are you interested in a private emailed review of your dick pic for $10 or a guaranteed review on the site for $25? Email critiquemydickpic@gmail.com with the subject line special review for details. And this is the point I was going to mention. She says, submissions from trans people, people of color, and other groups who are underrepresented in the dick pic world are welcome and encouraged. And she goes on to talk about how she's generally made available for interviews. So yeah, as we go on, we'll see. She's encouraging. She found when she started this site, it was a lot of like cis guys in their 20s who were emailing her their dicks, and she was trying to get some diversity there, and be as inclusive as possible. And I wonder how like the ratio of circumcised to uncircumcised penises may have changed over time as well. Certainly over the course of our adult life, there has been a move away from the circumcised penis to the uncircumcised penis.
I don't know what the proportion of people currently in their 20s versus 30s versus 40s who are circumcised in this country would be.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think it's become less popular for our generation to circumcise their offspring.
Yeah, for sure. This one is uncircumcised. So this person submitted this picture and wrote, I was going for a bold yet artistic approach, focusing on detail and clarity. I hope you don't just see it as another log. And she responded, you certainly haven't produced, quote, just another log, sender. Although I'm not sure you're in the absolute upper echelon of dick pics just yet. While I spend most of my time cautioning dick pic senders to zoom out, it's conceivable that there's an appreciative audience for close-up dick pics. As far as they go, yours isn't bad. Your grip is convincing, and although there's still work to be done on the framing, you've made considered use of negative space. It's lacking a wow factor, sender, but for a first attempt at a close-up shot, it is a fair effort. Thank you for submitting to Critique My Dick Pic. Your dick pic gets a B. It's got a B. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. The use of negative space is good. The lighting's good. Like,
the lighting is quite good. And the focus is very good. Like the depth of field.
Yeah.
It's all thought through.
Were it not for the focus and depth of field, like, can you imagine this with a poorer sharpness to it? It would actually be quite bad, yeah. I think. So maybe that's what she's reacting to. All right. Next post here we've got from March 28th, 2017. Critique My Dick Pic, first submission, trans pic. So what do we got going on here?
This is a neck down shot of a person who is lying sort of diagonally across the frame of the photo, which is looks like a standard camera photo, not a phone aspect ratio. Maybe it's been cropped or something.
That's true, yeah.
But it looks like a classic, I don't know, 4:3 ratio or whatever a sort of old regular camera would be.
Yeah.
They're wearing like a long-sleeved red shirt and then something sort of white pulled up and a strap on. This is a white complected person wearing a black, licorice black strap on and cradling it with both hands. And then their feet are together with their knees splayed apart.
Many, many different colors of nail and toenail polish.
Yeah.
Wood paneled walls.
I think that might be the headboard of a bed.
Oh,
I think that might be a big solid headboard.
Sort of a classic boudoir pose, maybe. Like if you could see the face in this, it would be like obviously the face is cut off for anonymity.
Sure. And the diagonal composition, the body really fills up the frame, right? Like the the top knee goes to the very top of the frame and the other knee goes almost all the way to the side of the picture. So they're taking up a lot of space in the frame.
Her response is, "This is a charming and somewhat restrained dick pic sender. There's a lovely pop of color created by your red top and oddly painted toenails, and the angle and pose are well considered. Your hand placement is strong, and the lighting is doing you a few favors too. It's a dick pic that feels somewhat on the safe side, sender, but it's very well thought out, which is a refreshing quality in dick pics. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets an A-. A-. She, in a lot of posts, is really insistent that you grab your penis. Like, if you're not supporting your penis with your hand, then there's a real risk that that droops in some way and begins to become a log.
You want its direction to be controlled.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know if I don't recall whether she talks about this there's the practical reason of you want to control the angle it's pointing when you're framing it. But I think also there's a real lack of implied intimacy, right? Touching it creates a sense of intimacy in the image.
You, viewer, may be touching it. Yeah, I think that's right. All right, this next one is quite a marvel. And I feel like the submitter's inspiration was like, gotta do something interesting. Here is the outcome.
Is there a way to zoom out? I would like to see the whole image. Zoom out again. What is happening?
Wait, what's going on here?
I think this person's in a car.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say a coma. I mean,
I'm not sure
what's so funny about this, and this draws into stark relief that this site is about the composition of the photographs. Like, this is sometimes you can like make your penis seem bigger or smaller or whatever with how you take the picture. But I think this penis might be quite big, actually. But it is bad. This photograph, it is bad.
So the angle is, I don't know, I think the person's maybe holding their phone up at kind of shoulder height. Or is someone else taking the picture?
No one else is taking this picture. This is not
understand
a third
what's
party.
Happening. Well, you can see part of their hand in the top of the frame. Okay, so a lot of stuff in this picture is out of focus. The most obvious thing you'll notice is that the penis is wearing a condom. And I guess I would say it's a pretty long, skinny penis.
Yeah.
The other thing you will notice is that the person has tidy whities that are just down around their ankles.
Around their ankles. This is why the log is a bad angle. This person didn't bother to take their underwear off, and it's just sort of stretched around their knees.
And then they're wearing like probably a blue sweatshirt or something.
Yeah.
But everything except the penis, and even that's not like great, but everything except the penis is sort of out of focus.
Yeah.
And it looks like maybe they've been like eating powdered sugar donuts or something. Like they've got a bunch of stuff on their shirt.
I thought those were like art camera artifacts, maybe.
Or this picture was taken at Burning Man and they've got a bunch of dust floating around in front of the camera. I mean, it does look like they're squatting in a dirty car with their tidy whities and a condom.
I mean, there's nothing inherently. Here's what I'll say about the condom. There's nothing inherently wrong with having a condom in one of these pictures.
Sort of an interesting
but
idea.
It's a high degree of difficulty if you're including a condom.
Yeah,
because it makes it seem.
I mean,
like Are we supposed
Was
to
this
understand?
dick pic taken right before this person had sex
Right. Are we
with an
supposed to-
unseen
Right. Are we supposed
person
to
who's
understand
also in
there's
this
another
car?
person in this car with them? No, I think they put on this condom. Maybe they are. There's that subtype of person that I've read about on the internet that jacks off while they wear a condom.
I
so
have
that
heard
it's
about that.
to like make less of a mess, I guess. It's expensive.
Well, like your mom always told you. If you need to jerk off, do it straight into the toilet. Your Catholic mother.
Yeah. Oh, wow. She's great. The response to this from the reviewer is, "This is a very poor effort indeed, sender. Where do I even begin with a dick pic like this? It is dimly lit and blurry, and a full 50% of the picture is unintentional negative space created by your sweater and inexpert framing. There's loads of visible clutter and mess in the background, and your underwear is stretched hastily and unattractively around your ankles. Finally, to address the elephant in the room, promoting safer sex is commendable, sender, but I'm not sure condoms are a must in dick pics. It's certainly not adding anything in this particular case. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets a D-. The
All
lowest
right, so that's
grade.
the lowest grade.
The lowest grade. Even the classic log got a D. But this, it's just so blurry, and that underwear looks so stupid.
And it just gives an overall impression of filthiness.
Filthiness.
This is a person who does not ever vacuum their car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like it looks like it was someone said to themselves, I gotta take a dick pic, but I got 10 seconds to do it. And then they, there's just no thought to even considering it for a moment would have produced a different result.
Yeah, I mean, the dick is a minority of the frame, which maybe they thought, sure, that's fine, but maybe they thought, okay, I'm doing what she said. I'm not just zooming in on my dick. I'm showing all this other great stuff.
Yeah.
I've got my dark upholstered car interior. I've got my dark dust splattered sweater, and I've got my tidy whities.
I mean, Gen Z and I guess probably Gen A coming up kids make fun of millennials and older for taking selfies that look terrible.
Yeah,
we don't know how, they're too close up, or for some reason the millennial selfie will often have the camera pointing down at a face.
That's because we don't want people to see our wrinkles and double chins and stuff.
That's what the point is of that?
I think so.
Okay, because I thought that was an aesthetic that was a classic MySpace photo, people would call it, if it's angled down. It's a MySpace shot.
Where the camera's above the
Yeah.
person. Yeah, I think people do that because looking up means the light is more likely to hit your cheekbones.
Okay,
You're
so
not
that's
bending
the
your
consideration.
neck, so it's not sort of emphasizing whatever folds of skin you have around your neck or chin.
I bet that, because the thing is that Gen Z people and stuff don't do that. They just do regular angle
They know
selfies.
how to hold their face.
Because they know how to hold their face. They know how to light themselves in a way that maybe is more flattering. But
basically everyone has some modeling skills who's 10 or 15 years younger than us.
yeah. But this picture, this condom dick pic, is the millennial, angle down selfie, essentially, of dick pics. It looks like trash. All right. This next one from March 26, 2017. It says winter dick pic. What do we got here?
All right. This is a person who is reclining on a pile of snow, completely nude.
I'd never do this shit. Wild.
And I'm trying to understand if their face has been covered or blurred out.
I think it's just out of shot.
There's a what is that circle
It's a
right
shadow.
above their chest? Okay. So it's shoulders to mid thigh. They're reclining. They're at sort of a diagonal going from top right to lower left. They are in sort of 3/4 angle to the camera. This person is white complected with really dramatically dark nipples and dark penis skin compared to the rest of their body. They're supporting their weight on one arm, and the hand of that arm is buried in the snow in a way that makes it's sort of hard to understand their arm.
Yeah, I don't understand the geometry of that at all.
Yeah, something about that is making their hand and arm look unusual. And then the other hand is holding the dick in the classic manner, supporting it so it has a curve.
This I would say is
pointing
like,
up.
Yeah, this is like a fully erect penis with the sort of curve that you might think it would have.
Yeah, and I think the overall composition is pretty nice.
Yeah,
They're in front of a metal shed, a corrugated shed. That seems to be their background. So they're on a big pile of snow in front of a sheet of corrugated metal.
Yeah, I mean, something that sort of goes unaddressed, I think, on this site is, I mean, she's like rating the, I guess, artistic merit of these photographs, but with a consideration for if a person would like to receive them, right? But the most artistic photograph is not the same thing as the horniest one, right? There's probably significant overlap in those because, like, no one's going to get horny off of something that looks like garbage, I guess. But I would say that this is further in the, maybe there's more artistic merit to this shot, the composition and framing of it. But then, like, I don't know, it's like a person who is clearly uncomfortable laying in the snow. So I don't know how horny this image is.
I mean, they're hard as a rock.
They're horny, but are you, the viewer, realistically expected to become horny by this?
I think if they had a little more awareness of how to pose, I think the angle and body posture all look good except whatever's happening with the other arm. And I think if they had a shot where the arm they were resting on, the arm that was supporting their weight, looked comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that would make it look much more natural instead of like, oh God, I'm so cold and miserable.
Yeah.
Hurry up and take this picture.
I think that's perceptive. I think this person looks uncomfortable because obviously they are.
Of course they are. But that's the art of modeling is when they tell you to get in a big pile of snow, then you somehow
look
are able to look like
comfy,
you're comfortable there.
Yeah. She says, this is an imperfect yet lighthearted dick pic sender. Snow-themed dick pics are surprisingly common, she says, which I'm surprised by. On the rise, if you'll excuse the double entendre. They have an inherent comedic appeal and degree of visual interest, so it's not at all a bad setting if you're made of hard enough stuff. Sorry. There's a generous portion of your body visible here, which she likes, but the picture feels rushed, probably understandable given the setting. It's not a mind-blowing dick pic sender, but it's certainly a commendable effort. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets a B.
Can I critique your readings of these?
Yes.
You tend to do it in a sing-song way where you're almost discounting each sentence as you get to the end of it. I just think you've done it with all of them, so you might consider how you're doing your readings.
Oh, this is a real meta critique moment, I think. Will you give me a reading as you think it should be read of maybe this third paragraph here?
There's a generous portion of your body visible here, but the picture feels rushed. Probably understandable given the setting. It's not a mind-blowing dick pic sender, but it's certainly a commendable effort.
Yeah, I mean, that's better.
Well, I don't think it's inherently better, but you do tend to give the same reading to almost every sentence, which that doesn't really allow them to have their full expressive character. If you sound like you're trying to, and then that it's just a piece of information to get through and another. Thank you for calling me using your telephone. That's your voicemail message as long as I've known you.
No, that's fair. I've just been sort of getting through them, I guess, quickly, but I'll be more considerate.
But if we're reading other people's text,
I would not read
we
a
should give it a
catalog
little
description in that way.
I just think we should give it a little respect.
All right. Let's look at this one for March 23rd, 2017. Adding some spice with taste. And this is our first one. You can describe it, but it's our first one that I would say is utilizing a completely soft penis.
Yeah, so this is, again, classic. Can you zoom? Oh, wait, this is the whole picture. Okay, yeah. This is once again the classic just below the tops of the shoulders to mid-thigh framing. This person is standing up against a white wall, and they have one leg drawn up. So their foot is really resting on the wall that's behind them a little higher than their knee. And they're resting their hand on that same side of the body gently on their inner thigh with one finger pointing gently to the tip of their...
It's like resting on it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Drawing the viewer's attention to the tip of their soft penis. It's a very classical body posture, right? They're trying to emulate sort of a Renaissance.
Absolutely.
The fist of the other hand is tightly curled.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this that I found to be...
I think a relaxed hand on that other side
would have been better.
Make more sense.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even relaxed, but studied, right? Like fake relaxed, the way the one pointing to the tip of the penis is.
Yeah. It's. We'll see what she says about it, but I think it looks good.
It does look good. It's well lit. The person has, they're casting quite a strong shadow behind them. Maybe it's a little overexposed in some of the areas that are getting hit
chest,
the hardest in the chest. But overall, it's pretty good.
Yeah. She says this is a thoughtful and well-executed dick pic sender. There's an interesting juxtaposition between your two hands here, with one delicately fingering your dick and the other balled into a tight fist. The use of lighting and shadow is excellent, and you revealed a generous portion of your body. Moreover, the setting is stark and uncluttered, and you've put visible thought into your pose. It's slightly washed out with the black and white filter. Sender lacking a bit of oomph, let's say, as you pointed out, but it's a strong effort overall. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets an A-. Let's go on to March 22nd, 2017. Whew. Boy.
Wow.
This is like the kind of photograph I expect in the corner of it to like be looking at this for 10 minutes and suddenly realize there's like a monster scowling at me, or like cat's eye. The Babadook is in the right hand top corner or something. What is even happening here?
So this is an extreme close-up on a penis, but
here's what it looks like. And you can describe actually what it looks like, but here's the vibe. Someone's been sitting in a dark room for a half an hour, and you go in, shine a bright light on them, and they cringe back away from you and squint their eyes as though they've been assaulted by the light. This is a dick pic version of that. So
this is a person showing...
I guess it's a person. Well, yeah. I have no evidence.
I was going to say this is a person in a dark room. It's dark. The background is dark, but not so dark that you can't tell. It's messy. It gives the impression of a person in a dark and messy room. And while the penis itself really stands out, another thing that stands out is the words edit and send are visible on the picture with an arrow. It's like this person took a screenshot of their own picture within some editing menu.
It's a logical paradox that they've taken a screenshot of their own penis, but It's so aggressively lit.
It's
like the phone flash in a dark room
They're
or
using
something
the
like
phone
that.
flash in a dark room for sure. That's absolutely what's happening here. And they've got the phone. It's like someone told them, use landscape orientation. So what they did was they turned the phone so that the short axis of the image, their penis is perpendicular with that. So their penis is filling up the whole...
It's filling up the whole image, the whole short side of the image.
short side of the image. It's centered. So there's a large amount of approximately symmetrical negative space on each side of the penis, which is just framed in the center. It's not been cropped or anything. It's just the dimensions of your phone photo, your default phone photo with the flash on. You can see a little bit of blue checked.
It's like they have flannel boxers
Yeah,
or something.
I think they've got, flannel pajama pants that they've pulled part way down, something like that going on here.
Yeah, Tasmanian devil pajama pants. They've
And I know we're not supposed to critique the penis itself, but this person jerks off a lot.
Their penis looks injured, first of all.
Like they have some serious like chafing and chapping and stuff going on.
I'm also confused by like they've shaved the hair at the base of their penis, but somehow there are still long straggly hairs. Like it's like
they've shaved their balls, but they left the hair on top. I think but
I see lots of stubble on the base of their penis, but it's like they successfully shaved 8 out of every 9 hairs on the base of their penis, but then the other ones are very long. It's confusing.
I don't know exactly what they've done
this
here.
penis
It's
looks
a little
bruised.
bit haphazard. This penis looks like it has been, I guess maybe they're into CBT.
Could be.
It looks like maybe they've been jerking off with hand sanitizer or something. It's so dry and cracked and red.
It's really, really rough. I feel sorry for this guy. She says, this is a comically poor dick pic sender. Not only is it a blurry log with a clashing mishmash of carpets very barely visible in the dim lighting, but you've even hilariously failed to remove the edit and send Snapchat text, which indicates how quickly and sloppily you took and subsequently fired off this dick pic. It's not at all a strong effort sender, and you would benefit from spending some time going over the A-grade submissions for inspiration. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets a D-. D-. Maybe let's find one more.
Why don't you click on the link to the A grade ones and let's see whatever's the best one.
Oh, this one does look like the Babadook. She's interested in it for its... No, I don't want to do that one. That one's too creepy. This one?
I think we should either do pig head, tool belt, or person who seems to be genuinely jerking off. The person who's like leaning back against pillows. The only one that has a human head in it. It's like that has like a face, a visible, that's got like a this would be the first one we've discussed that has a
face in it. All right, yeah.
There are other pictures where people have included their faces, including the spooky eye dude, but
well, let's end with this. It's called attempt number 2. And it's, as you've said, a person who appears to actually be jerking off.
Yeah, there's a sense of motion going on here, right? This is a person who's jerking off.
Yeah. I would say this is the first one that has horny energy, too, that we've looked at.
This is a shot. So this is a person who's lying on a bed with their legs spread, and the camera is positioned off to the side between their legs. And they're reclining, half resting, I guess, on a pillow or probably their arm that's out of shot. Their face is in frame but turned away from the camera. So you can see a jawline and a bit of ear and the sort of vague shape of a profile. But their face is largely covered by their hair and sort of turned away. They're on a bed in a room that has, there's a window with curtains behind them.
Light is coming in through the window.
Diffuse light coming in through the curtains. There are various pillows and blankets scattered on the bed behind them. So it looks like a sort of authentic bedroom jerk-off pic.
But not like a messy disaster like some of these other ones. You can't exactly see what, you just know it's a bed.
Yeah, it's a normal person's bedroom. And you can see like tendons standing out on their neck.
Yeah, like they're straining in some way. That has sexy energy.
Yeah, and their legs are spread quite far apart. And you're looking from the perspective of more or less their right knee, like right below their right kneecap.
Yeah, looks good.
It's got a lot of negative space that seems considered.
She says, "This is an inviting and somewhat serene dick pic sender. There's a lot of movement and narrative in your picture, and yet the black and white filter gives it a distanced air. Your hand placement is excellent, and there's a considered use of negative space here. There's a little too much visible clutter, and the angle could be improved, but overall, sender, it's a solid shot. Thank you for submitting to critique my dick pic. Your dick pic gets an A-. Ones we have not looked at include a guy with like a tool belt and his penis, and somebody with a pig's head and their penis, which I find to be very unnerving, but they still got an A. All right, well, before we go, I want to mention that when we restarted this podcast a few weeks ago, I set it up to sort of auto-upload all of our stuff to YouTube, even if, no one listens to this anyway, and certainly no one will listen to it on YouTube. But we received a comment on one of our YouTube videos, episode 20, Strictly Medicinal Seeds 2021. That comment was from Strictly Medicinal LLC, who have somehow found this episode on them.
Well, it would be normal for a business to have a Google search alert out for their business name.
And they commented, "How is it possible that this podcast has one subscriber and no comments?" These people are really funny. Obviously not herbalists, though. Obviously not. And then they emailed us directly as well.
We got to get them on the pod.
Got to get them on the pod. They wrote, "Hi, I feel like I want to know you two, or that I already do, but there's a lingering question which gets in the way of proceeding with that. How is it possible that you put so much effort into these scores of podcasts that, unless, excuse me if I'm reading the analytics wrong, apparently nobody listens to?"
Yeah, well, that's a sign of a true maniac.
Such a true artist, I think you mean. All right, so we're going to respond.
Screaming into the void.
65 episodes deep. We'll respond to Strictly Medicinal and get back to you.
Yeah, I hope they come on the pod. That would be really cool.
It'd be a real get. All right. Thanks for listening to this podcast. It's always been about penises and always will be. Bye.
It's city business. It's city business.